Hey everyone, this is Corine Lafont, your favorite radio host, your only radio host, and favorite girl, of course, broadcasting to you from the lovely island of Trinidad and Tobago in the Caribbean on Between the Lines. And you know how we do it here on Between the Lines, always with gratitude or thankfulness, as some people say. It's a beautiful day in Trinidad and Tobago. Can you see the light streaming on my dark skin? Can you? Can you? Yes, we had a lot of rain a while ago. I enjoy both the rain and the sun. We don't have snow here, just a little education moment. I'm in the islands in the Caribbean. We don't have snow. Okay. So it's beautiful. The temperature is just right. Don't ask me what the temperature is. The only thing we do here is say it's hot, it's chilly, it's just right. We don't do the Celsius or the Fahrenheit and below whatever. We don't do those things here. It's just right. Good to be in your bed, under cover, snuggling with somebody. That's what we do over here. Okay? That's how we do the temperature in the Caribbean. Okay? So you will see this handsome man next to me. I only have handsome people on my show, don't I tell you? Only. Okay? All right. So anybody who's not handsome, don't come on my show. His name is Dan Blanchard. I hope I pronounced it properly. Is that correct?
Yes, indeed, Corine. And I love your introduction. And I will tell you, it's warm where I'm at, but not as beautiful maybe as where you're at this moment.
Thank you very much for acknowledging that. Thank you very much. But based on the conversation, we'll see. We'll let the audience judge that.
Indeed.
Okay? We'll let the audience judge. So let me tell persons a bit about what we're talking about. We're talking about the culture of cruise lines. Okay, let me repeat that. The culture of cruise lines. And let me tell you a bit about Dan. Let me get to his bio quickly. So Dan grew up in Washington State, living and working on boats since he was a kid. He received a shipmaster's license at 18. Clearly, somebody needs to look into that because that's underage, and has gone on to travel the world and live a storied tale from the owner of Blanchard Marine to captain of sightseeing vessels. Captain Jack Sparrow would have clearly a problem with that. So from captain of sightseeing vessels to director at Cruise West and vice president of operations. In 1999, he joined American Safari Cruises and went on to acquire the company in 2008, launching Innersea Discoveries, now known as UnCruise Adventures. A lifelong adventurer, he connects with nature and culture wherever he goes. And in May 2013, which was just recently, by the way, he was adopted. Somebody adopted him, my word, into a native Alaskan. How do you pronounce this word? Tlinglet or Lingjet? How do you pronounce that?
It's Tlingit. Your first one was very close. I'm surprised. You really got it
Why?
right on.
I am good. Let me take a moment, people. Let me take a moment. I did get that. I'm sure most people doesn't. So you see, so he was part of that tribe. He's living the dream, which we all would love to live, I'm sure. He built around his passions, which includes the sea, clearly, and wouldn't have it any other way. Why wouldn't he have it any other way? Why wouldn't you, Dan? Welcome to Between the Lines.
Oh, it is so good to be here. This is the best introduction I have ever heard to a show. I mean,
Thank you.
you're so, I just have to say, I mean, your guests must follow because you are just an open human being with a good heart and it just comes right out of you.
Oh, thank you. I love you already, Dan. Listen, why wouldn't you have it any other way? First to begin, let us start off with the legalities. 18, and you
You,
got your license. Who
I did.
who did you pay off to give you that?
Well, you know what? The way it works is I grew up on a tugboat. So when you're young and the family has a tugboat, you get your what's called sea time and education very early. And so the earliest you can receive a captain's license in the United States or a master's license is when you're 18. So as soon as I was of legal age, I signed up and I took the exams and I passed. And I have to tell you though, I'm not unique because both my kids did the same thing and they're both captains
They're
when they were very
following
young.
you in the illegalities? What? You're
I
leading.
love it. I love it. But these
Criminal
were
Dan is encouraging his children to do criminal things.
but these are much smaller vessels. I mean, these are not like large cruise ships. That took more time.
That's okay.
Yeah,
A
yeah.
tugboat to get me in a boat. I live on an island. Let me just remind people of that. And I am still scared to be on a boat. Okay.
Well, you don't know this, but I live on an island too, but it's not quite the same. It's not in the lovely Caribbean, but outside Juneau, Alaska. Yeah.
Wow. Uh, But here's the thing in Alaska, from what I know, you see a lot of ice.
Well, Alaska's a big place, and at the very
Clearly.
north, it's a lot. It's
Yeah.
snow and ice. Yeah, it can be all the time. But in our part of Alaska, which is a much lower latitude, we actually have very warm temperatures during the summer and mountain peaks with ice, but wandering waterways that are green with trees and bears and all this
Wow.
kind of thing. So
Be-
quite a bit
Did you
different.
just say bears? Did you just say bears?
One actually took opportunity to do its duty on the deck of my office just 2 days ago.
I'm happy for you. And that's why I live in the Caribbean.
I love it. I love
We
it.
don't have bears wandering to do their do or whatever they feel to do. Just like that. No,
Yeah,
no.
that's
We
right.
have lizards and birds, those type of creatures.
hmm hmm
Okay, not bears. Not deers, no ice caps.
Nothing like that.
No, no. Lots of green, but no
Mm-hmm.
ice caps.
Indeed.
So I am so awed by that. 18 and you're living on a tugboat, sorry, and you know, that is such an adventurous life, Dan. Won't you? I mean, people assume that when we live on an island, that you can swim. You live on an island, you're supposed to know how to swim. They assume these things. Just like I lived in Jamaica for 21 years, and they think everybody there is Rasta. No, that is not so. People make these assumptions. I am not a swimmer, and I live on an island. And clearly, I'm not a Rasta, even though my hair looks like this, but I'm not. Okay. So I am thinking to myself, you are out there in the sea every day, dealing with the ocean and all that comes with it, the animals, the creatures, and you're just feeling free and you're saying you wouldn't have it any other way. What is it about nature and the sea makes you so attracted to it?
Well, obviously I was exposed to it when I was young, but really the change came when I was in my early 20s. I
Hmm.
applied to work in a place called Glacier Bay National Park as their captain of their tour vessel.
Right.
And that for 97 days straight, I had a Park Service ranger naturalist sharing the wonders of the world. Whether it
Wow.
be how trees grow or how whales birth and interact and all this kind of thing.
Wow.
And Karina, it really changed my life. I went from a person that was kind of felt like I would make a maritime career to really one who fell in love with the wilds of nature. And it's
Wow.
really more of that motivates me today, and the preservation of that and the return of all these animals than the sea itself. I mean, it's become that the combination of critters and wild areas that are protected and a
Yeah.
wilderness are really my big motives. And if I can take what makes me happy and share it with others, kind of a perfect life for me.
Yeah, and I like how you introduced it to your kids, which is to me very good parenting. Normally, parents pass on their fears to their kids. I mean, well, I guess it would be the opposite. It wasn't a fear for you. So you expose them to what you know and for them to be comfortable and they too followed and got their license. So they're actually living the dream life, I would think.
Yeah, my daughter's actually has worked for me since she's 16 years old, and she's now in her mid 30s, and she's a captain of one of our boats. And
What?
my son is runs a maritime academy in Seattle, where he teaches young people, the trade. So yeah, there's an old saying that the fruit didn't fall far from the tree,
At
and
all.
in this case, it's true, and I just feel really just super blessed that my kids have
Wow.
kind of stuck with the industry, and in fact, my son is canoeing in Glacier Bay with a friend as I speak for 2 weeks.
Canoeing. You
Yeah,
mean that thing with the oars?
yeah, baby, for sure.
I have tried that and I was screaming my lungs out. I was like, no, my God, we're going to drown.
Well, they do feel pretty tippy, don't they?
Yeah, which is
Yeah,
why I was screaming.
yeah,
Yeah, because the water is right there. It's just right there. It's not far from the boat. It's not like the boat is up here and the water is down there. It's right there.
right there.
I don't know, but I love the water. I love hearing the water. It's very peaceful to me. But I just need to get over the fear. My mother passed on the fear of water to me as a child. She had a fear of being by the sea. We have these things called outings when we go to school, and she never allowed me to go on any such thing that had water, anything to do with water. One time she allowed it, and we took a boat out, like a sort of same, I wouldn't even call it a tugboat, a pirogue kind of a thing,
Mhm.
very small, like fisherman's boat, out to some smaller islands, which is near to us, connected to us here in Trinidad. And boy, I tell you, it was the scariest thing ever.
I bet.
The scariest thing ever. I was like, whoa, oh my word. But, it's memories, and I would one day hope to be able to get over that. Because when I see how people move in water, they just seem, like fishes. They just, oh my God, they just seem free, you know? That is something I need to get over. One day, I'll come and work for you on cruise, and I can
Well,
just put my toe in the water and say, yes, I did it.
and the great thing is, let's just keep growing in whatever it is till the day we
Yeah,
die, right? I mean,
yeah,
I love what you're saying, kind of
yeah,
overcoming our fears and
yeah,
experiencing new things.
yeah, yeah. So the cruise ship. Now, like I was saying to you off air, we in the Caribbean just recently, and I think especially, well, not think, especially with the pandemic, because the cruise lines were one of the first major things that were shut down as a result of COVID-19, because you're contained on this floating island, is what I like to call it.
Hmm.
So now that things have opened back, the cruise lines have, started employing people again, and they had a major recruitment drive in Trinidad on the Royal Caribbean Cruise Line. And that created a lot of excitement because, people are looking for jobs, especially for young people. I think it's really good for younger folks who are looking for excitement and learning new languages, meeting people from all over the
Travel
world.
and
Oh
yeah,
my
yeah,
word.
yeah.
I think,
Oh, what can be
I
wrong with that?
Oh my God. If I was, well, I mean, I'm 25, just to let you know. But if I was a lot younger,
You're
I
young
would,
at heart, though. I'm picking that up right now.
thank you. And young in looks too, can't you
Yes.
tell? Thank you. So if I was a lot younger, I would have gone on a cruise ship and worked and traveled the world. I encourage, honestly, any young person, once you finish high school, just go straight into it and experience the world, live. Because one of the things you don't want to do then is look back at your life and say, I wish I could, I wish I should have, could have, that type of talk. You don't want to be doing that, you know. So they recruited a lot of people, for different positions. Is it the same kind of thing for you? And what I want to understand from you is, as we mentioned in the topic, the culture of cruise lines. Help people to understand what is the sort of culture, the kind of expectations, what are the benefits?
Well, I think, just like anything, the culture of any particular company is set
Mhm.
by those that run it. and
Hmm.
what their motive is. So you can't necessarily say the culture is, just one cruise line to another. It's very
Right.
independent, very specific.
Hmm.
With my company, we're more in the adventure side of the travel
Okay.
industry than even the cruise. So our boats will go and guests will come on board with crew, and they'll spend a lot of their day out kayaking, hiking, uh, you know,
Uh,
paddleboarding, snorkeling, you name it. And so it's really more about what's off the vessel. So a crew member that comes aboard our vessel is probably going to be exposed to a lot of local culture,
nice.
native groups. They're going to be exposed to a lot of wildlife. They're going to be exposed to a lot of small group activities with guests and this kind of thing. So
Mm.
it does vary from cruise line to cruise line. Some cruise lines are, have a culture of, just super high service. Then that's,
Yeah.
exacting service. Others
Hmm.
are more casual. And so it does depend on the cruise line. But with us, it really is more an immersion of the crew member with the guests, but
Hmm.
also with the wild culture and nature around them.
What would you say somebody coming into that industry need to have or prepare themselves to do to get into that area?
Well, it depends on which area, of course.
Mhm.
What's an engineer needs is different than an expedition guide, for
Right.
instance.
Right.
But the big thing is they have to be good with people. Our ships are small, so the
Hmm.
biggest thing is they have to be good with people. And I would say this is true even of the large cruise lines, whether it be Royal Caribbean or Norwegian,
Hmm.
whoever,
Right.
is that you're living with the same folks, same people
For a
on a
while.
ship for a
Hmm.
long time.
Hmm.
And so I think the most important skill is tolerance of others,
Mm.
understanding and communicating well with people of all different creeds and beliefs. And that, if you have that as the foundation, that's the first step to success. And then the educational pieces kind of
Okay.
add up on top of that.
How did the pandemic affect you? And is it, that's one question. And what have you done to kind of bolster yourself during that time? Or did you pause like most cruise lines did?
We were forced to pause in 2020. We did try to operate one trip and decided that we were going to wait. So we
Hmm.
we started up in May of 2021. We were the first fully vaccinated cruise on planet Earth, and
Wow.
in Alaska. And so we actually kind of got a bigger jump on the large multinational cruise lines
Hmm.
because we were able to start in May and run
Okay.
through the primary summer months where most of the cruise lines didn't start until late last year. So
Yeah.
it was really good for a small business like ours, family owned, to be able
Hmm.
to kick it off and kind of start digging ourselves out of the effects of the pandemic earlier.
Mm. So what did you learn from that? I mean, the whole pandemic and moving forward. What did you learn?
Oh my gosh. Well, it's a library. Someday maybe I'll write about it. But I think the thing that uh, we learned that the decisions we made in March of 2020 to
Mhm.
really, we had a major cutback that we had to do,
Wow.
and now we're benefiting from
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
because we were able to survive, and many companies did not survive.
Mhm.
But I think from a standpoint of decision making,
Mhm.
there were a lot of people that said the pandemic would last 4 weeks or 8 weeks or
It's
at
still here.
most 6 months, and
Yeah.
and we just all the research we did into facts. So I guess facts are important. Indicated that wow, pandemics don't end in weeks or
No,
months.
that's
They
why it's
end
called a
in
pandemic.
years. Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
But I think that in politics and general thought, there was so much of this,
Yeah.
oh, by midsummer this will be over.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and we never really bought into that. And so I
Mhm.
think it helped us prepare for
Mm.
the long haul, which, for us was, well, we're still in that long haul and
Of
probably will be
course.
for another year.
Uh, and at least at
Yeah,
the rate we
yeah.
are
And
going.
yeah,
Yeah.
and maybe it goes endemic instead of pandemic at some point here.
Maybe.
Yeah, yeah,
Maybe.
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 Yeah.
because we have had past pandemics. I haven't experienced any in my lifetime, from what I could recall.
Mhm.
I was probably too young at that time, but it has come and gone, and everything balances off. That's how
Yes.
the ecosystem works.
Yeah.
It balances off. So moving forward in the cruise line industry, and you said your cruise line is small. What's the number? I don't know what are the numbers for Royal Caribbean are like, but what's the number for you?
Well, so for instance, a Royal Caribbean ship could hold 6,000 passengers, a
Damn.
big one. Most of them are more like 2 or 3,000, but
Wow.
our ships are all 100 passengers or less.
Okay.
So
That's still
it's
contained. That's
Yeah,
good.
yeah, and
Yeah.
and so and plus we're off the vessel more, which allowed us to start
Mm,
earlier because it
mm,
just didn't present the opportunity for spread like maybe some of the larger ships, particularly that spend a
mm.
lot of days without getting on shore and
It
being outside.
does.
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
been on a
yeah.
cruise. I took my mother on a cruise in
Oh, did you?
2015. Yes, that's
Good.
why I love cruises. I want to do it again.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't get to experience the entire ship. I was with my mother. She's much older. So, things were moving a bit slower. I had to go with her. So next time I'm doing it either with some girlfriends, not by myself, but with some girlfriends, a girls trip.
A
So
little
that I,
party time.
that's right. I can do from top to bottom.
I love
you
it.
know, but I know it's a massive ship. It's a massive ship. And I mean, people at all levels. So I am like, wow. And it took us some days before we went to land, and we were able to come off the land and do different stuff. Yeah. But 100 is pretty cool. And to be able to do activities and interact with the community is pretty good. So how long do you spend out? How long are your cruises last for?
Our cruises are anywhere from the minimum is 7 nights, 8 days, going up to 3 weeks, depending on,
Wow.
how you organize your trip. But
Mhm.
again, really, the boat portion or portion of the cruise portion is really just it's kind of like the tool we use to get out in
Mhm.
the wilderness. So our big
Right.
thing is really being more attached to the adventure travel trade part of the travel industry rather
Mhm.
than necessarily a more common cruise experience.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm not so sure about the adventure for me. I will more stay with
Well,
you
we
and
won't
just watch
require
us.
you to swim. No swimming.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So make sure you put that on my card.
Okay.
Everybody knows Corine is not to swim. Don't
Indeed.
take her out on a canoe. Don't. And they'll be like, what is she doing here? What is she doing here?
That's awesome.
What is she doing here? They'll be watching my little card. What is she doing here?
Oh
Wrong
my
cruise.
goodness, my goodness.
But you're mainly in Alaska. Do you go beyond Alaska?
Well, Alaska's our home in Juneau, Alaska.
Mhm.
And that's where we have most of our activity starting in April and ending in mid October.
Okay.
But we do operate in Hawaii
What?
many months out of the year. We operate in Mexico, Costa Rica, Panama,
I could
Belize.
deal with that. I could deal
I'm
with that.
actually going down to your, I mean, it's a ways from you, but we're going to be in
That I could
Belize.
deal with that.
Yeah,
Those I'm
there you
licking my
go.
lips.
Yeah.
I'm licking my lips here. Yes.
Yeah, and then of course in the Galapagos. So we have destinations kind of mostly on the west coast of North
Hmm.
America and Latin America, but of
Hmm.
course Belize is a venture on the on your side of the world.
I like that because let me tell you one of my dreams, and probably you could help me make it come true. Seeing that you mentioned Hawaii, my eyes popped open when you said Hawaii. I always wanted to go Hawaii because I need to wear the coconut bra and the grass skirt.
I lo-
Okay?
well, okay,
Are you
I will
laughing
tell
at
you.
my
We
dream,
will
Dan? Are
talk
you laughing at my
afterwards.
dream? Are you
No,
laughing at my
no,
dream?
no, no, no. I am enjoying your dream. I'm
Okay?
laughing with you
Thank you.
because I think that dream has to come true.
It
But if you
has
do it,
to.
I want pictures. I
Oh,
want pictures of this.
honey, I'm going to be posing with you. Honey, I'm going to be posing with you. I'm going to be
Ah.
pictures. We're going to be doing videos, honey. We're going to be doing videos.
Well, it's interesting. We're headed over. Our boat heads over in about well, what is it? It's late August. So our boat heads over in very early November and arrives in Hawaii and stays until May.
I have a
Um,
few months still.
you have plenty of time,
Yeah.
and we
And I
go
have
to
coconuts here. I have coconuts here in
well,
Trinidad. I could
and
work on the
you could
bra.
bring them with you. You could get them all ready to go. Um, but we start out on a little island called Molokai, which you probably never heard of because even most Hawaiians don't go there because it's kind of off the beaten path.
I
There
love
isn't
that.
oh
So I
it's
could
and
start off there.
oh and Corrine, get this. I mean, there are residents on Molokai that still wear traditional Hawaiian garb as part of their daily life,
Put
even
my
in the
name
little
down.
tiny town.
Put
Oh,
my
you
name
would
down.
feel so. It is so awesome.
Put my name down. Put my name down.
You and Liz and I are going to have to talk, obviously.
I am so ready. Can you feel the dream coming
I,
to reality?
I am feeling the energy, girl. I am feeling the energy.
I could see myself in the bra, the grass skirt. I'm ready. The luau. I'm ready.
You're cracking me up.
Liz has nothing on me. Liz. Mm-mm, mm-mm. She would just be there taking the pictures, the selfie, the videos, all on Facebook, everywhere, social media.
Oh
That's
yeah.
what we're gonna
Oh
be
yeah.
doing.
I love it.
I could do that trip. The Hawaii, the Belize, the Mexico. That's just right there.
Yeah.
I could do
Yeah.
that.
Well, yeah, actually, Belize and even geographically,
It is
Belize and a
close.
quick hop over to Mexico is so easy
Yeah,
for you. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. That's not bad. But the Alaskan thing,
That's a long way to travel.
not only
Yeah.
that, the bears. I think the bears got me.
Well,
The bears
the,
got me.
the
And the
bears.
ice, and the ice.
Well, you really don't see that much ice in our part of Alaska, but
Yeah.
I think you'd find it's warm. I mean, it's this time of year. I mean, it would. I don't know what it is in Fahrenheit, but in Fahrenheit. Excuse me, I don't know what it is in Celsius, but in Fahrenheit, today it's around 70 degrees, and we get up to around 80 during the summer.
I'm looking
Um,
at my computer screen. It's telling me
okay,
26 degrees Celsius.
there you
That's the
go.
only way I can tell. Other than that, it's just right.
There
It's
we go.
warm.
I love it.
23 degrees Celsius. I don't know how to convert it to Fahrenheit yet, but
Okay.
that's what it says.
Well, both of you and I will have to work on that one.
So, okay, so we have that as one thing to check off the list, plus the coconut bras and the grass skirts and getting me to Hawaii. We're set. Dan, we're
Okay.
set. Don't tell anybody now
All
because
right.
then we'll have a lot of
No,
people
it's our
coming
secret.
over.
Yeah, this won't
I,
make it in the cut, right? Yeah.
it does
We're
say
live.
live.
Got me.
It does say live. Let's hope they miss it. Let's hope they miss it. But it would be
So
just
funny.
us and Liz and the photographers and videographers. Okay, that would
Indeed.
be just us. I want to be able to feature your website as we close off this because I want people to see what you're offering. I think you have an offer
Yeah,
for
so for
something. Yeah.
listeners,
Yeah.
your listeners, there's a $500 off,
Mhm.
and the code is spring 2023. So this is for next year. Spring 2023 is the code, and we would just love any listeners to come on board, take advantage of that. You can see on the screen now a whale shark from our Mexico
See
trip.
what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Well, now there's your ice. There's your ice.
Yeah.
And of course, humpback whales and this kind of thing.
Wow. Is this one of yours?
It is. In fact, that boat is just maybe
There's the bears.
green.
There's the
There's the
bears.
bears, but you're watching them from the boat.
You see this thing, the rafting? I
Yeah.
wanted to try that. That's so dangerous but exciting.
It's, it really the tip we do is very, very safe, but it's also it's down on one of the rivers that runs on the west coast of the United States, and it is such a fun trip. I'm actually going on that on September 3rd. My
I
wife and
really
I.
don't want
Yeah.
to hear that. I really don't want to hear that.
Well,
Really.
I'll just make sure to invite you along.
That's what I want to hear. That's
Okay,
what I want to
okay,
hear.
okay. Well, I got to get this gig down right in the future. Invite along.
Right? Right? And put the things on the card and my name so that
I
everything is
love it.
clear.
I love it.
Do you see this one? I have always wanted to see. I see this in the movies, the Northern Lights.
Yeah,
Does this really happen? I
it
mean, is
really
it?
does. It
Oh
just
my
let's
God.
see. It's usually you're going to get northern lights
Wow.
during the months, from when we operate in Alaska, for instance, where you have your best chance of northern lights.
Hmm.
It'll happen in April and May, and maybe early
Oh,
June, but usually April and early May. And then it
okay.
just started up again this week again. It's starting to get dark enough. So last week we had three of our six boats in Alaska have
Mhm.
amazing northern light shows. So it it's spiritual. It's
It is,
beyond. It's
and
beyond.
that's why I
Yeah.
love it. But
Yeah.
what is a northern light? What causes it? Is it like how you have the rainbow with how they explain the rainbow? It's the light separating because of the humidity in the air, kind of a thing. Is it that? What is a northern light? Why
Well,
does it?
it's technically known as aurora borealis, and it's caused by at the magnetic poles, and so that the atmosphere basically this light is created by energy that's in the air and that
Wow.
gets excited. I mean, the technical difficult or technical explanation I'll leave to my expedition leaders, but it can
Yes.
be anywhere from just a very low green haze to the picture you
Yes.
have there, which is just one single one, to just massive blown up clouds of green and kind of a pinkish color often. And it just depends. They're most common though in what would be the northern spring and the northern fall or
Wow,
winter.
that is so beautiful. That is so beautiful. I would love to experience that. And the food. Hello, I cannot leave without talking about the food. Tell me the type of foods that you would have on your boat and what we can experience.
Well, it's going to be most of the food is going to be based on where you're at. So when we're in Hawaii, we have a farm on
Of
Molokai
course.
that grows for us and supplies local vegetables and fruits and even meats. And so in Hawaii, we're going to shift to more of a Hawaiian cultural,
I
but still
love that.
still be able to get if somebody wants a hamburger or a steak, they can get that. But we try to go basically what's important to this culture, and that goes with
Mm,
drinks. And so for instance, if you come to Alaska, we're going to have salmon and we're going to have crab and
I
we're going
love
to
that.
have
I'm more
local
about the sea
distilled
life.
goods. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm more
So
about the sea
local
life.
beers and drinks of all kinds. And we really feel that to fully experience a destination, like if we were to come to Trinidad, we wouldn't be serving Americana. We would be
No,
serving what
please.
is important to Trinidad.
Of
And
course.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I want to experience the food and the life, but I
yeah.
don't eat meat. So please put that on my card when I come to
We've
Hawaii.
got that. We got that. Going
Thank you.
veggie. Yep,
Thank you very much.
yep,
Thank you very much. So you see,
absolutely.
people who are not listening at this particular segment, because then you would know what our plans are. You would know that if you're not listening, what we are doing and what we are planning to do over the couple of days in Hawaii, Belize, and Mexico.
I love
Okay,
this scheming. I love this open scheming.
we're not hiding, yet we're hiding. Okay? Don't try to follow us, people. Don't look at the website. Don't try to get on. Don't you understand? Don't follow us in Hawaii. And please do not compete with me and my coconut bra and grass skirt. I don't want you coming with anything to outdo me. Thank you very much. Okay? Dan, please let them know.
Yeah, this is a no competition clause. That's right.
I like that. And no competition. Dan, it's been awesome having you. Is there anything else you would want to let our watchers and listeners know? I see people are watching and listening and liking. I'm seeing the little likes showing up.
Yeah. So, I would just say you brought up such a good point about the aurora borealis of the northern lights, and really the time to see that with us is from early April and early May, and then again in
Nice.
mid-August to September, and
Okay.
it is an amazing thing. And although I'm going to have to get you up further north than Mexico or Hawaii for that, that. So maybe that'll be trip two
Or trip 10.
or
But
trip 10. But yeah, and I think that just I think the biggest thing I have to thank you for, Corine, is just Thank you for interviewing me. Yeah, this has probably been the most enjoyable interview I have ever had. You are
And
just a open heart,
that's typically.
and I
Oh,
love your casual
oh,
style, and I hope your listeners just stick with your show because this is a rare treat.
oh, thank you, my
Yeah.
darling. This is what I normally get as a response when people come on my show.
Oh, good.
It's been good, and I thank you so much. But we have plans that we're not telling anybody else. Let's just make sure we stick to the mission, Dan. Stick to the
Okay.
mission. Thank you so much, Dan. It's been a pleasure. I see. Is that a whale behind you?
Oh, maybe I'll just that is actually a
It's a
sea turtle.
turtle.
And my daughter-in-law, there we go. My daughter-in-law, I took her and my son on a trip one time, and she painted that for me. Isn't that outrageous?
It looks like a photograph.
Yeah, no, that's an oil painting. It's just wonderful.
Wow,
Oil and I
that's
think acrylic. Yeah,
beautiful.
yeah.
Yeah. So you're in your office right now on the boat. Is that it?
Not on the boat. I happen to be in our Seattle office where a lot of our maintenance takes place. If I
Oh.
was in our Juneau office, I would turn the camera so you could see some of our boats. But
Yeah, that would be
I'm
cool.
away
You need
from
to
that
come back
office today.
on. You
There we
need to
go.
come back on, and then we could see what's going on outside. And
We'll
I
do
don't
that.
know.
Okay,
Yeah.
you're on.
Dan, it's been a pleasure. I always love to have fun with my guests. I look forward to wearing the coconut bra and the grass skirts that nobody's going to compete with me on. And just having fun with you in Alaska on the 10th trip. On the 10th trip. Okay.
And what I've learned from you, Corine, I'm going to get back on LinkedIn. Thank you for that comment before we got on. I am going to do
Yes.
that.
You need to. You
Yeah.
need to. We missed out so much there. I mean, people are seeing and watching, but they're missing you, connecting with you. They'll only
We'll
connect with
make that
me.
right. So you can do a review of the first trip you do. We'll do that review together, and I'll be on LinkedIn by then, or back on. Deal? All right. Thank you so
It's
much.
been a pleasure. Thank you so much for being on Between the Lines. Take
Uh-huh.
care.
Good day.